Alcoholism. Honestly, it's not too bad if you enjoy a shot of whiskey or two now and then, because life would be boring without a bit of alcohol in your system, but there's always something as too much, especially when it comes to alcohol. Alcoholism, or alcohol use disorder, is when drinking becomes a regular and uncontrollable routine. Instead of 8 glasses of water daily, you habitually drink 8 bottles of Bud Light regularly. This works because a lot of people like how alcohol can be effective at numbing their systems, making them feel a bit loose while forgetting their problems. You probably spend Fridays drinking with a few friends because it's a relaxing way of ending a tough week. It's basically a reward for your body. Alcohol, however, eventually hijacks your body's reward system, making you crave that relaxation all the time. That's why some people like drinking so much, as if their bodies are probably already bleeding alcohol. Alcoholism can lead to severe consequences, like liver damage and kidney failure. On top of that, being drunk all the time can lead you to do some crazy stuff, including getting a bit too violent and driving through the freeway like a madman. So if you have an Alcoholics Anonymous group in your area, you better get there quickly to get booze off your system. Amphetamine use disorder. If you're stressed or tired, amphetamines are there for the rescue. This drug is a stimulant. This means that it can boost energy levels while improving your mood. It also is used for treating ADHD and other similar conditions. You can find it in a lot of different forms, including Adderall, a prescription drug, and the infamously illegal crystal meth. When you use amphetamines, your body's going to feel some happy juices coursing through your veins, making you feel like you're the happiest guy on the planet. But as you use more of this stuff, your body will build up a tolerance, meaning it needs more to achieve the same effects. You'd be forcing yourself to use more of it, leading you to become more dependent. You're basically useless when you're at your normal state, and that's why your body will push you into taking more amphetamine to get that happy and energetic feeling again. Amphetamine use disorder can lead to anxiety, hallucinations, and paranoia. Of course, no one likes having a nasty smile because of meth mouth, which is when your gums start to go bad and your teeth fall out. It can also cause heart problems and rapid unhealthy weight loss. Forget dieting and going to the gym, because amphetamine addiction is there to turn you into skin and bones. Psilocybin use disorder. Mushrooms on your pizza may sound nice, unless we're talking about psilocybin, otherwise known as magic mushrooms, or simply shrooms. Shrooms aren't as harmless as any other fungus out there because this stuff can cause hallucinations and perception changes. They can distort the way you see reality. It's not physically addictive, meaning your body won't be demanding more, but because some hippies love the trippy effects they get from shrooms, it can lead to psychological dependence. That's when this becomes a disorder. When you depend on this substance, your state of mind will be altered. It's like you're on a psychological trip 24/7. You'll start neglecting work, school, and relationships when you're always chilling at home and munching on shrooms all day. Being dependent on shrooms can also open you up to risky behaviors, including driving while on a bad trip. Moreover, if you can't get your fix on this substance, you're likely to experience mood swings. Sedative use disorder. Sometimes life can get too rough on you, especially when you have deadlines to meet in school or at work. So if you want to unwind, a sedative, like a sleeping pill or even anti-anxiety medication, can do the trick. Using sedatives isn't bad as long as you only do so occasionally or as prescribed, but when you start taking them like your daily multivitamins, that's when the problems will start to show up, causing sedative use disorder. This substance abuse disorder kicks in when you start needing more sedatives to chill out, primarily if you use them regularly. But you can also develop this disorder if you use your sedatives together with alcohol. What happens here is that your body and brain will start craving the drug, especially if you can't just feel relaxed taking the usual dosage anymore. The body won't feel rested or relaxed unless you use sedatives, and this craving can lead to a cycle that's tough to break. Even when you try to cut back on your use, your body's going to go through withdrawal symptoms like anxiety or even seizures. Hallucinogen use disorder. If you're a bit on the adventurous ride, wanting to feel a different kind of fun, then you're likely to use hallucinogens like LSD or magic mushrooms. Hallucinogens can give you a unique thrill ride that's crazy yet exciting for many people because they affect how the brain and the senses perceive things. Essentially, your mind takes a trip and makes you hear, see, and feel things that aren't real. Sometimes this can be a one-time or occasional thing, especially if you're just in it for the experiment. But when it turns into a pattern, it can get out of hand, leading to hallucinogen use disorder. It's like you're just getting a slice of dessert, but you end up eating the entire cake. That's how hallucinogen use disorder starts. You just wanted to try, but ended up loving the experience so much that you just want to experience it regularly because the real world has become too boring. One of the biggest problems with this disorder is that it tends to blur the lines between what's real and what's not. Some people who are too deep into the effects of hallucinogens may also experience paranoia and anxiety anxiety problems, although these side effects aren't that common. Chain smoking. Probably the most common way of taking the edge off when you're stressed or having a big problem is to take a break and light up a cigarette. Around 24% of working adults smoke, which means that it is one of the most widely used substances in the world. Cigarette smoking has never been good for your body, although there are instances when smoking a stick or two from time to time can help you relax. However, the problem arises when smoking becomes an addiction. This habit is known as chain smoking. If you're a chain smoker, you're already lighting up a stick before you even burn through the last one. This becomes an uncontrollable and unstoppable habit that turns you into a human chimney and a walking lung cancer magnet. But chain smoking doesn't happen overnight. It's usually something habitual, where the action becomes automatic, especially if you've become too dependent on nicotine. That's because nicotine can help improve your mood and makes you dependent on it for that feel-good energy. The biggest problem in chain smoking is that it's got serious health implications. It increases the likelihood of breathing problems, cancers, and heart disease. There's no doubt that quitting this habit is incredibly difficult, as it can lead to withdrawals. But there are medications, or better alternatives, like nicotine patches that can eventually help you overcome this disorder. Steroid use disorder. Nothing screams manliness like muscles on top of muscles, and muscles on your eyeballs, and being able to overpower opponents in the boxing ring or on the basketball court. You've got steroids to thank for this added beefiness in your physical performance. Depending on how you use them, steroids can be helpful. A lot of bodybuilders use these drugs to look like walking blocks of marble. But when you use steroids in a way that's not necessary or more than prescribed, that's when steroid use disorder comes in. This is essentially a pattern where a person becomes so obsessed with becoming the next Incredible Hulk that they keep on taking steroids without thinking about how they would impact their health. Steroids, even when used in a controlled environment, can already mess with your hormones and cause mood swings and aggression. That's why you might have episodes of roid rage, which is when you become a bit too aggressive with all that testosterone coursing through your veins. These effects are worse if you're basically addicted to steroids. Benzodiazepine use disorder. If you've ever had an episode in your life where you keep counting sheep but just can't fall asleep, you are likely familiar with the effects of benzodiazepines. These drugs include Xanax or Valium, which are great at treating anxiety disorders. But if you take your benzodiazepines like they were Tic Tacs, that's when things can get messy. The more of this stuff you use, the more your body will need to get knocked out. The more dependent you are, the more likely you'll suffer from benzodiazepine disorder. If you're suffering from this disorder, it's like you're in slumberland the entire time, unable to concentrate on your task. That's because benzodiazepine relaxes and slows your brain down to make it easier for you to sleep. But once this effect wears off, you become irritable or anxious. The only way for you to feel relaxed and at ease is to pop one of these drugs. You can still use benzodiazepines if you're suffering from this disorder, just tone the dosage down until your body gets back to normal. We on this channel are suffering from subscriber dependency, which is the need for more subscribers. If you want to help us get over this addiction, you can join our Discord. Caffeine dependency. Whether you're a stressed out college student or a zombified corporate slave, that morning cup of joe is your sidekick. The caffeine in your coffee gives you that extra pep in your step to make you feel you can take on the world after a sip. Caffeine is basically the fuel in your tank when you're too tired to start your day or think about going to the gym. It works by blocking the sleepy signals in your brain, making it the ideal substance to use when you're in the middle of finals week or that dreaded work presentation. Your brain, however, starts expecting caffeine to rescue you every time you feel sleepy. Before you know it, you've already downed 4 cups the entire day to keep your mind alive. This is when caffeine dependency starts. No one likes to admit they're addicted to caffeine. They love it when their Red Bull gives them wings, but if you're too dependent on caffeine, you can't do anything right unless you have a shot of energy drink. You're also grumpy with a headache until caffeine gets into your system. Nitrous oxide use disorder. If you've ever been to the dentist and found yourself getting knocked into a blissful state, that's because they used nitrous oxide on you. Commonly known as laughing gas, this substance is a dentist's secret weapon to keep you from murdering them while they pull your teeth out. But the thing about nitrous oxide is that it's quite common and can be found in whipped cream canisters and other similar items. Because of this, people who chase that euphoric sensation inhale hefty doses of this stuff. In a matter of minutes, you'll be high on laughing gas, giggling the entire day while marathoning cat videos. When you get addicted to this stuff, you'll be too busy laughing to know that nitrous oxide is already playing a trick on your body. It replaces the oxygen in your lungs, causing you to go dizzy, and when your body is severely lacking oxygen, you can say goodbye to some of your organs. Suddenly, a session of laughs turns into a tragic drama. It might sound fun at first, but you don't want to end up in an emergency room because of laughing gas. So if you start loving that high you get every time you visit your dentist, just remember that nitrous oxide use disorder is no laughing matter. Bath salts use disorder. Don't let the innocent name fool you, because bath salts aren't for soaking away your troubles in the tub. Instead, these substances are synthetic drugs that can be anything but relaxing. The only reason why they have such a deceptive name is that they look like Epsom salts, but the similarities end there. Instead of sprinkling these salts into your bath, you snort or smoke them to chase that euphoric high that's similar to what cocaine gives you. It sounds like a good party, but it comes with a hefty price. That burst of energy you get will quickly warp your sense of reality. You're hooked on it pretty soon because you love the salty buzz you get from these nasty crystals. But when you're deep into bath salt use territory, you can become a grumpy and agitated mess if you don't get that high. At the same time, if you keep on going on a trip with bath salts, you can get paranoid. It's basically a one-way ticket to crazy town, where you get all sorts of hallucinations. The worst part is the withdrawal, because it's like a hangover straight from the pits of hell. It's going to get you depressed and anxious. That's why dealing with someone with bath salt use disorder can feel like you're diffusing a ticking time bomb of craziness and emotions. Polysubstance use disorder. Having polysubstance use disorder, or PUD, is what can happen when there's an entire party of different substances mixing and dancing together in your system. It's like your body is a huge dance floor, inviting alcohol, nicotine, weed, ecstasy, and a lot of different substances to the party. While things start out fun initially, it quickly becomes chaotic. As soon as the different substances start bumping each other on this dance floor, none of them play nice anymore. They can start to give you different kinds of effects, such as drunkenness mixed together with the sexiness of ecstasy and the trippy high of marijuana. Sometimes the mixed effect is great, but in most cases, it's incredibly unpredictable and dangerous. But if you're suffering from PUD, getting drunk or high just won't be enough for you to get the feeling that you want. There has to be something else buzzing in your mind and body. But juggling unpredictable effects can deliver different highs and lows. Sometimes it's just a fun vibe. However, it can also lead your system to shut down, especially if your system can't handle the chaos. If you're suffering from this disorder, it's best to never rush to the end of the party. Just steadily take a few guests out the door until the fun becomes more manageable. Barbiturate use disorder. Think of barbiturates as the star of the drug world during the 1900s, when your great-grandpa and everyone around that time took it to get some rest after working all day. Let's say that Barbie the barbiturate is your body's guest of honor during a slumber party. But even after you fall asleep, Barbie doesn't just leave your body. Instead, it stays there and tells your body to take more of it. That's how you develop barbiturate use disorder. You're essentially hooked on the seductive feeling of relaxation that this drug gives you. As soon as you use more of this drug, you just want to stay home, doing nothing but laze around and nap. You end up forgetting everything you need to do in life, including bathing or getting a proper meal. The addictive effects of barbiturates are exactly why this drug has been left behind in the 20th century. It's no longer popular today because doctors noticed something odd and said, well, it seems like people who use barbiturates turn into big couch potatoes. Maybe let's stop prescribing this stuff. Luckily, there are medical treatments that can help you kick Barbie out of your system and say goodbye to it for good.